A boy of 11 kneels in a drainage ditch behind his grandfather's hardware store in Saginaw, Michigan, the spring of 1947. The water is up to his shins. The cold is a kind of weather. He is holding a length of clothesline rope in one hand and a rusted tin can in the other, and he is building a trap. Not because he was told to, not because anyone is watching, but because the boy down the street said it would work on rabbits. And the boy down the street was wrong last time, and the wrong was the lesson. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody is worried. And that afternoon is doing more to build the man he will become than every organized activity of his entire life. These are 31 survival skills every American boy could do before high school in 1947. Most men today cannot do a single one. And number 1 is the skill all the other 30 were secretly building toward. We will get there.
Subscribe before we start. Number 1 is the skill that matters more than all the other 30 combined. Number 31. A boy in rural Tennessee around 1944 knew how to walk a quarter mile through woods at dusk and identify the difference between a copperhead and a harmless corn snake without stopping. He did this because his older brother had been bitten the year before and missed 2 weeks of school, and the family had already lost the cotton crop. The boy learned 8 snakes by the color of the band, the shape of the head, the way the body moved when it was cornered. He learned that a dead snake still bites from reflex for up to an hour. He carried a stick 3 feet long, and he knew to step over logs instead of onto them. Today, a boy sees a snake in a park, and an adult calls the city. The adult is not wrong. The boy has simply never been taught the difference between a creature and a crisis. A snake in the grass is not a problem. A boy who cannot tell which snake is the problem. Number 30. A girl or boy of 9 in coal country, West Virginia, around 1945, could split a piece of kindling with a single swing of a hatchet and stack it under the porch. The family heated the house with a cast iron stove that took wood twice a day, summer and winter. The child learned where the dry wood lived in the woodpile, always at the bottom, always against the house, never where rain could find it. He learned that pine throws sparks and oak holds heat, and that green wood hisses and wastes the fire. A modern child is told to avoid sharp objects by the adults entrusted with his safety. He grows up unable to keep his own family warm for one evening if the grid fails. The skill is older than the country. The country forgot it. And that was not the coldest morning he would be sent outside to meet. Number 29. A boy in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, around 1948, could read the sky for weather better than any forecast the radio would give. He knew the difference between a mackerel sky and a buttermilk sky. He knew that a red sunset meant clear air to the west, fair weather coming. He knew that a ring around the moon meant rain within 24 hours. He knew that swallows flying low meant insects riding low, meant pressure falling. The adults checked him. "Boy, what's it going to do?" He was 9. He was the local weather service. Today, a man drives to work trusting a screen that tells him what the sky has already told anyone willing to look. The sky has not changed. The willingness has. A man who cannot read the sky is borrowing his own judgment from a tower. Number 28. A boy of 10 in eastern Oregon around 1946 could gut, skin, and dress a jackrabbit his older brother shot at the edge of the alfalfa field.
He learned to make the first cut at the sternum with a pocket knife his uncle had sharpened that morning on a whetstone. He learned to keep the bladder intact or ruin the meat. He learned that liver was for the cook, and the rest was for the stew pot, and nothing went to waste because nothing was free. A modern boy grows up believing meat comes in plastic. He believes this until a piece of plastic costs $30 a pound, and the man cannot feed his family on what he remembers from television. The trap is not the rabbit. The trap is the belief that someone else will always do the first cut. Number 27. A boy in Trenton, New Jersey, around 1948, knew how to navigate 6 blocks home, through alleys and back fences, and the gap under the chain link behind the A&P. He knew which backyards had dogs, and which had old men who would tell his mother. He knew that the sidewalk route was not always the safest route when the older boys from the next block were out. He carried a route in his head the way a postman carries a route in his feet. Today, a man in a strange city panics when his phone dies at 11%. The map is gone, the man is gone. The boy who carried 6 blocks of Trenton in his skull was carrying the first real test of memory under pressure. The test never ended. He just stopped noticing it. Number 26. A boy in rural Vermont around 1943 could start a fire with a single match in damp conditions. Birch bark peeled and saved in his pocket, fat wood split from the heart of a standing pine. A teepee of pencil-width twigs leaned against a thumb-sized branch. He knew that fire wants air first and fuel second, and that the order matters. He knew to clear the ground to mineral soil before laying the first stick. Today, an adult cannot start a fire in his own backyard without a bottle of lighter fluid and an apology to his neighbors. The fire did not become harder. The relationship between the man and the basic physics of combustion became a stranger. Number 25. A boy in eastern Kentucky coal country around 1947 could walk into a fast creek in March water and not flinch. He did this because his father needed a rock moved or a rope tied around a sunken log or a trap checked before school. The water was 40 degrees. The boy's legs were bare. The boy went in. The cold was not the lesson. The cold was the door. The lesson was that the body is a tool the mind is allowed to use without asking. Today, a boy is told that cold is a danger. Cold is weather. The danger is a man at 45 who has never been cold and cannot tell when his own children are turning blue. The boy on the creek bank at the top of this video, we are coming back to him, but not the way you think. Number 24. A boy in Charleston, South Carolina, around 1948, could swim 100 yards in open water with a current running. Not the pool water of a YMCA, but the river water of a tidal creek with a soft mud bottom and the occasional submerged cypress knee. He learned from an older cousin who could not swim himself, but had pulled 2 drowning men out by the hair before his 12th birthday. The cousin was not a hero. The cousin was a witness. Today, a boy in an inland suburb takes swim lessons at a public pool, supervised by a certified instructor, and emerges at 15 unable to jump into a lake without screaming. The water is the same water. The boy was never required. Required is the word we lost. Number 23. A boy of 9 in central Pennsylvania around 1945 could change a tire on the family Ford sedan in the gravel lot of a Sunoco station while the station attendant watched from the office and did not lift a finger. The boy knew where the jack went, where the lug wrench went, which way to turn the lugs before he lifted the wheel, and how to seat the spare so it would not wobble at 30 miles an hour. He was not praised. He was charged 50 cents for the patch. Today, a man on the interstate calls a service that charges $120 to do what the boy did for 50 cents and a half hour of his own hands. The man does not learn. The man pays. The man pays again next time. Number 22. A boy in suburban Detroit around 1947 could walk into a public library, ask the librarian for the World Book Encyclopedia, look up carburetor, read the diagram, and walk out knowing more than his father about the car that was sitting in the garage waiting to be fixed. He could read a schematic. He could read a recipe. He could read a road map. He read for use, not for credit. Today, a boy searches the internet for a video of a man doing the thing and copies the first 6 seconds before losing attention. The encyclopedia was not faster. The encyclopedia was a contract between a boy and a piece of knowledge that said, "Read me carefully or I will not help you." The internet broke the contract. The list so far has covered weather, water, fire, wood, snake, knife, road, tire, library. The pattern is not the skills. The skills are old. The pattern is the second person missing from every scene. No instructor, no coach.
No credential, no class, no adult standing over the boy saying, "Well done." The boy did the thing because the thing needed doing, and the man who watched from the porch did not interrupt him. That absence is the part no one talks about. That absence is what built the country. Number 21. A boy in southern Indiana around 1946 could identify 3 edible wild plants in any season and 3 more in summer. He knew where the wild black raspberries grew in July, where the May-apples hid in the shaded creek bottom, where the cattail roots could be pulled in spring and eaten raw. He learned from his grandmother, who had learned from her mother, who had learned because the family had once starved. Today, a man walks through a park bursting with free, clean, high-protein food and sees only weeds. The knowledge was not exotic. The knowledge was dinner. The forgetting is the exotic thing. Number 20.
A boy of 10 in coastal Maine around 1944 could row a wooden dory 4 miles across a chop in Penobscot Bay without an adult in the boat and without panic. He learned because his grandfather had a smokehouse on an island, and the family needed the boy to row the bait back and forth on Saturdays in summer. He learned to read the wave pattern, to back row into the swell, to keep the bow into the wind when it gusted. He learned that the boat was a thinking animal. You may already be seeing the pattern here. Every one of these has one thing in common. We will name it at number 6. Number 19. A boy in Akron, Ohio, around 1948, could tune up a lawnmower engine, the Briggs & Stratton of his neighbor Mr. Henderson's mower, by adjusting the carburetor screw, draining the old gas, refilling with fresh, sharpening the blade with a hand file, and oiling the change. Mr. Henderson paid him 75 cents and a glass of iced tea. The boy owned the work. He owned the result. He knew when the engine sounded right and when it sounded tired. Today, a man pays a small engine repair shop $90 to do what a 10-year-old did in Mr. Henderson's backyard with a screwdriver and a dime's worth of patience. The skill was mechanical. The lesson was that a man's labor had a price and a dignity, and the dignity preceded the price. Number 18. A boy of 9 in rural Nebraska around 1945 could trap a gopher in a snap trap baited with peanut butter, skin it, stretch the pelt on a board his grandfather made, and sell the pelts at the hardware store in town for a nickel apiece. He accumulated $11.12 by June and bought his mother a pair of work gloves for her birthday. He was not praised. He was not photographed. He was 9.
He had done a piece of work that mattered, and the work had paid him in a way that could not be inflated or revoked. Today, a man cannot name the last thing he made with his hands that another human paid him for. The man has a job. The job is not the same thing. The job is a contract. The work was a life. Number 17. A boy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, around 1948, could walk a dark stairwell of a 4-story walk-up to deliver a paper route. 38 customers, 4 buildings, Sunday collection at each door, without fear and without flashlight. He knew the stairs. He knew which steps creaked and which ones did not. He knew that the dark was not the danger. The danger was the third-floor tenant who sometimes answered the door in his undershirt and stared. The boy was 8. He made $2.10 a week. The money was real. The dark was the tuition. Pause here. Tell me in the comments, which of these did your father or grandfather teach you? The comments on this video are full of men naming the exact moment. Read them. The first half of this list was about doing. The next 15 are about deciding. What to do when no one is watching, when the situation is unclear, when the cost of being wrong is paid in something more than money. The boy on the creek bank from the top of this video is about to appear in a different scene entirely. He is older now. He is 15. He is holding a different object. Number 16. A boy in rural Georgia, around 1946, could recognize when an adult in the room was lying to him. Not suspicion, recognition. He knew the way his uncle's jaw tightened when the story did not match the room. He knew the way a man held his coffee cup a half-inch higher when he was not finished with his version.
He knew that adults were not always honest, and that the dishonesty was not always a crisis. Today, a man in his 40s discovers his father lied about a key family fact, and the discovery rearranges the man's sense of self. The boy who learned to read the lie as a child did not collapse at 40. The boy had been inoculated by exposure. The man had been sheltered by silence. Number 15. A boy of 10 in western New York around 1947 could field dress a wound on another boy who had cut his leg on barbed wire. He had watched his father do it. He used a clean handkerchief boiled in a tin can over a fire, applied pressure, elevated the leg, and walked the boy a half-mile to the farmhouse, where the older sister drove them into town in a Model A. He had not been trained. he had watched. The wound was 4 inches long. The boy did not faint. He did not call an adult first. He did the next thing. Today a man watches his son bleed from a kitchen cut and calls his wife. The wife calls the doctor. The doctor is 40 minutes away. The son is fine. The next thing reflex is gone. Number 14. A boy in Bangor, Maine, around 1948, could walk into the hardware store on State Street, ask for a specific gauge of wire and a specific size of hook, name the fish he was going after, and walk out with exactly the right tackle for $2.11. He had learned from his grandfather, who had fished the Penobscot for 50 years, and who could name the hatch on the river by the way a mayfly rode the current. The boy knew that knowing what to ask for was 9/10 of being trusted with the answer. Today a man walks into a store and asks a clerk what he should buy. The clerk is 22. The man has abdicated. Number 13. A boy in rural Ohio around 1944 could hold his own in a fistfight without lasting injury to either party and without adult intervention. The fight was over a stolen baseball. The boy was 11. He came home with a split lip and did not tell his mother. He told his father. His father nodded. The father did not ask if he had won. The father asked if he had done it fair. The boy said yes. The father nodded again. Today, a boy is suspended from school for defending himself in a way the school has decided is unacceptable. The school has decided. The father has been removed from the chain. The split lip heals either way. The lesson does not. We are past the halfway mark. The next 7 are the ones that built the man. The mechanics of survival have been covered.
What comes next is the kind of knowledge no institution can hand a boy, the kind that requires the boy to be in the room when something hard is being decided, and to absorb it without being told he is absorbing anything. Number 12. A boy in rural Alabama around 1947 knew how to sit with his grandfather in the kitchen on a Sunday afternoon and ask the right question at the right time. The grandfather had a stroke when the boy was 12, and the boy was the one who found him on the floor and knew not to move him, and knew to send his sister for the neighbor, and knew to keep the grandfather talking. He had been taught by watching. He had been allowed to watch because no one had sent him out of the room when the men were talking. The boy on the creek bank from the top of this video, that was his grandfather's kitchen. He is the same boy. He was building toward this. Number 11.
A boy of 10 in Topeka, Kansas, around 1948, could read a man's face in a job interview at the diner counter and tell whether the man across from him was hiring or evaluating. He had learned by watching his mother waitress the lunch counter at the Jayhawk Cafe for 6 years. He knew that some men came in hungry, and some came in tired, and some came in looking for an excuse to send an application to the back. He knew the difference between the smile that meant yes and the smile that meant go home. Today, a man goes into an interview and reads nothing. The interview has been outsourced to a software platform. The platform does not need a boy. The man still does. Number 10. A boy in upstate New York around 1946 could climb a tree to a height of 40 feet and shimmy out on a limb and not fall. Not because he had a harness. The harness did not exist in his world. But because he had learned the load-bearing branches and the rotten ones, and the way the bark felt under his palms when the wood was wet, he climbed because his father had climbed, and the older brother had climbed, and the dog had treed a raccoon, and someone had to climb. He fell once. He broke his collarbone. He did not climb that day. He climbed the next week. Today, a boy climbs a tree at the school playground, and a teacher calls his mother, and the boy is told that trees are not for climbing. The tree did not change. The tolerance did. Number 9. A boy in rural Missouri around 1945 could sit with a sick animal and decide whether to call the vet or do the harder thing. The harder thing was to put the animal down himself, cleanly, with a single shot from the .22 his father had taught him to use at age 8. He did this once when he was 12, a calf with black leg.
His father walked him through it. His father did not do it for him. The boy cried afterward in the barn. His father put a hand on his shoulder and did not say it was okay. The father said it was done. The boy understood the difference. Today, a man cannot make the decision. The man calls a stranger. The stranger charges $100 to drive to the farm. The calf has already been in pain for 6 hours. Number 8. A boy of 10 in Hartford, Connecticut, around 1947, could deliver a message to a neighbor that his own father could not bring himself to deliver, that the man's son had been killed at Anzio, that the telegram had come, that the family needed him now. The boy had been chosen because he was small enough not to threaten and old enough not to break. He knocked. He delivered the message. He did not leave until the man's wife came to the door.
He had been taught beforehand by his father, who had said only, "You will be the first kind face he sees." The boy was 10. He carried the war into a kitchen in Hartford. Today, a man learns that his neighbor's son has died from a Facebook post. The man does not know what to say. The boy knew. Number 7. A boy in central Illinois around 1946 could walk into a cornfield at the edge of town and know, without being told, that a man was standing at the far end, waiting to hire day labor. He knew what the man looked like. He knew how to walk up. He knew how to ask for the job without begging and without lying about his age. He was 12. He worked from sunup to dark. He was paid $2. He bought flour and salt for his mother with the money. He had not been coached. He had been watching his uncles for years, and the watching was the lesson. Today, a man in his 20s cannot ask a stranger for a job without rehearsing the question for 2 days on his phone. The phone is the rehearsal hall. The field is the test. The test is older than the country. Number 6. A boy in eastern Tennessee around 1944 could walk into a hardware store in town and buy a box of .22 shells, a spool of fishing line, a can of Prince Albert tobacco for his grandfather, and a tin of snuff for his uncle with exact change, without being questioned about his age and without adult supervision. He was 9. The store owner knew him. The store owner knew his father and his grandfather and his uncle, and the boy was carrying the family's name into the store the way a flag is carried. He had been entrusted. He had not been protected. He had been trusted because he had earned the trust by carrying small things accurately for years. The pattern you have been seeing, every one of these skills, has one thing in common. None of them were taught. All of them were absorbed. The boy was not a student. He was a witness. He was allowed in the room when the men were being men, and the room did the teaching. We removed the boy from the room. We called it protection. We called it education. We called it safety. We did not call it what it was. Number 5. A boy of 11 in northwestern Pennsylvania around 1946 walked home from a Boy Scout overnight camp with a pocket knife, a length of cord, a half roll of duct tape, a bandana, 2 matches in a waterproof tin, and a piece of fat wood the size of a cigar. And he knew what each object was for, and he could improvise with any one of them if the others were lost. He had not been issued the kit. He had assembled it himself over 2 years of pocket money, 1 piece at a time, each item bought at the hardware store with the explanation that it was for his pack. The kit was not a gift.
The kit was a curriculum he had written himself. The father noticed. The father said nothing. The noticing was the graduation. Today, a man buys a survival kit online for $140 and cannot identify 6 of the items inside it. The kit does not save him. The man who built the kit, 1 object at a time, was building the man. The man was not built by objects. The objects were the receipts. Number 4. A boy of 12 in rural Wisconsin around 1948 could load and shoot a .22 rifle accurately from a sitting position at 50 yards, could clean the rifle afterward without being told, could put it back in the case and lock the case in the gun cabinet and put the key on the hook behind his father's shirts in the closet. He had been taught at 8. He had been allowed to shoot alone at 10. He had never been reckless. The father had not been permissive. The father had been deliberate.
The boy understood the rifle as a tool that required him to be a particular kind of person before he picked it up. The gun did not make him dangerous. The training made him safe. The training was not a class. The training was the father standing behind him for 100 Saturday mornings saying nothing, until the boy stopped hearing the father and started hearing himself. Today, a man has a rifle in a closet and has never cleaned it. The man is more afraid of the rifle than of the man who taught him to use it. The fear is the new inheritance. Number 3. A boy in western North Carolina around 1945 could walk into a farmhouse where a man was dying and sit at the kitchen table with the family and not speak unless spoken to, and not leave until the man had stopped breathing or the family had asked him to. He was 13. He had been sent by his own father who could not go. The boy did not know what to say. He knew what to do. He sat. He was quiet. He carried a glass of water to the widow. He helped the daughter wash the dishes afterward. He walked home in the dark. He did not tell anyone what he had done. He did not need to. The doing was the record. The record did not require a witness. Today, a man in his 40s has never been in a room where someone was dying. The man has never sat at a table where the only job was to be a body in a chair. The body in the chair is the oldest job in the world. The job is unfilled. The job does not post on LinkedIn. Number 2. A boy of 11 in central Michigan around 1947 could walk into the woods alone for a full day and a full night and walk out the next morning without harm. Not because the woods were safe. The woods were never safe. The boy was prepared. He carried the kit. He carried the skills. He carried the judgment. He had been allowed to walk into the woods for half days since he was 8, then full days since he was 10.
Each time he had come back. Each time the man at home had nodded. The nodding was the curriculum. By 11, the boy could be trusted with himself. By 13, the boy could be trusted with another boy. By 16, the boy could be trusted with the family. Trust is not given. Trust is built in the body, in the woods, in the returning. Today, a boy is not trusted to cross a parking lot alone. The boy does not return from the woods because the boy has never been allowed to enter the woods. The woods are not the wilderness. The woods are the test. The test has been outsourced to a screen. The screen does not grade on returning. The screen grades on attention. The boy returns when the man stops watching. Number 1. A boy of 12 in rural Ohio around 1946 could look his own father in the eye and say no. Not defiantly, not cruelly, just clearly. The father had asked him to do something the boy believed was wrong. The boy said no.
The father looked at him for a long time. The father did not punish him. The father did not praise him. The father went inside and shut the door. The boy stood in the yard. The boy was shaking. The boy went home that night, and the next morning his father took him to the hardware store and bought him the better hatchet, the one with the hickory handle, the one that cost $1.25 instead of 75 cents. The father did not say what the hatchet meant. The boy knew. The boy had passed the test that none of the other 30 skills had prepared him for. The other 30 were the curriculum. Number 1 is the graduation. The boy did not learn to say no to survive the woods. The boy learned to say no so that one day, when the woods were made of men, and the men were made of authority, and the authority was wrong, the boy would still be himself. The 30 skills were the practice. Number 1 is the man. The country did not lose its hatchet skills. The country lost the man the hatchet was teaching. The country did not lose the woods. The country lost the willingness to send the boy into the woods and wait for him to come back. The country did not lose the test. The country lost the trust. The country can rebuild the trust. The country rebuilds it the way it was built. One boy, one woods, one return, one quiet nod at the kitchen door. The other 30 skills will follow the trust. The trust does not follow the skills. The trust has to come first. The boy on the creek bank at the top of this video is now in his 80s. He does not remember the trap he was building. He remembers the cold water. He remembers the tin can. He remembers that no one came looking for him. He remembers that the afternoon was his. He remembers that he came home for supper. He remembers that his father was already at the table. He remembers that his father asked how it went, and the boy said it did not work, and his father said, "Try again tomorrow." That afternoon is not coming back. The tin can is not coming back. The drainage ditch behind the hardware store is a parking lot now.
The country that built the boy on the creek bank is a country that has decided the boy should not be in the drainage ditch. The decision is not cruel. The decision is wrong. The decision can be changed without rebuilding the parking lot or reopening the hardware store. The decision is changed the way it was made. One father, one son, one afternoon, one nod. The other 30 will follow. Which of these did your father or grandfather teach you? Tell me in the comments. Next week, we are going inside the kitchen table where those lessons were tested. Subscribe so you do not miss it. The hatchet is on the peg by the door. The boy is in the yard. The father is at the table. A boy is sitting on a creek bank in rural Tennessee in the spring of 1947. He is 9. He is holding a tobacco tin with both hands and a length of copper wire. He is building a trap for a creek chub. The water is cold and brown. He has been here for 2 hours. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody is worried. That afternoon is doing more to build the man he will become than every organized activity of his entire childhood combined. These are 31 things every American boy could do before high school in 1947. Most men today cannot do a single one. And number 1 is the skill all the other 30 were secretly building toward. We will get there. Subscribe before we start. Number 1 is the skill that matters more than all the other 30 combined. Number 31. A boy in rural Tennessee in 1948, age 10, is holding a Zebco 33 in his right hand.
The reel is open-faced. The line is 4-pound test. The bobber is a red and white plastic slip style made by Thill. The hook is a size 6 Aberdeen. The boy baits the hook with a single canned corn kernel he has carried in his pocket since breakfast. The corn came off the dinner plate last night. The boy has already threaded the line through the rod guides and tied the clinch knot the night before on the kitchen table. The boy does not cast from the reel. He opens the bail, holds the line against the rod with his finger, and flips the rig underhanded into the current. The bobber lands 2 feet from the bank. The boy sets the rod on a forked stick he drove into the mud an hour ago. The boy sits back. The boy watches the bobber. The boy does not touch the rod for 15 minutes. The boy catches a bluegill by 9:15 in the morning. He cleans it on a flat rock with a Barlow pocket knife his grandfather carried through France in 1918. The boy is alone. The boy knows how to wait. A grown man in 2025 opens a subscription app on his phone, watches a video of a man catching a fish in 12 minutes, feels the same hit of dopamine for a third of the time and none of the patience, and wonders why he feels hollow on the drive home. The skill was never the fish. Number 30. A boy in central Ohio in 1946, age 11, is standing in his uncle's woodlot with a bow saw and an axe. The uncle has marked 6 white oaks with blue chalk. The boy is to drop them, limb them, and stack the rounds in 4-foot lengths beside the coal bin for next winter. The saw is a Diston No. 5 with a 5-foot blade. The boy sets up the first tree with a back cut and a side lean. He drives the wedges after the back cut binds. The uncle is not in the woodlot. The uncle is at the kitchen table drinking coffee and watching the window.
The uncle taught the boy once in the spring and once in the fall. The uncle expects the boy to finish by lunch. The boy finishes 2 trees by lunch. The boy stacks 6 cords by the time the light fails. The boy knows how to wedge a back cut. The boy knows what a hinge looks like when it is the right thickness. The boy will know it for the rest of his life. A grown man in 2025 pays $400 for a truckload of seasoned oak delivered to his driveway and posts a photograph of the stack on the internet. He does not know what a hinge looks like. He does not know what a hinge is for. The skill was the hinge. Number 29. A boy in western Pennsylvania in 1948, age 10, is standing in a galvanized washtub on the back porch. The tub is half full of cold water. His mother is at the kitchen stove, rendering lard. The boy is scrubbing his own clothes with a Fels naphtha bar and a washboard. The shirt is a chambray work shirt he has ruined with axle grease. The boy soaks the shirt in cold water first, works the soap into the worst stain, lets it sit, then works the washboard from collar to cuff. The boy wrings the shirt by twisting it into a rope between the 2 sticks of a wooden wringer mounted on the tub. The boy hangs the shirt on the clothesline in the side yard. The boy is dressed for school tomorrow in his second best shirt. The best shirt is drying. The boy knows what a Fels naphtha bar can lift. The boy knows the difference between work clothes and good clothes. The boy knows where his good shirt is. A grown man in 2025 separates his whites and his colors with no detergent in the machine and runs it on cold because the shirt is delicate. The shirt is not delicate. The man is the delicate one. The skill was the ring. Number 28. A boy in southern Missouri in 1947, age 9, is kneeling at the edge of a sinkhole on his grandfather's place. The boy is holding a mason jar with a piece of bread soaked in creek water at the bottom. The boy is collecting tadpoles to feed the bass in the stock pond. The boy knows that tadpoles hatched in the last week are still feeding on their yolk sacs. The boy knows that tadpoles hatched 2 weeks ago are eating algae and detritus. The boy knows which size the bass will take. The boy scoops the right size. The boy screws the lid on the mason jar with a punctured tin top so the tadpoles can breathe. The boy carries the jar a quarter mile back to the pond and tips them in one at a time. The boy watched his grandfather do the same thing in 1923. The boy's grandfather learned it from his father in 1890. The skill has not changed since 1890. A grown man in 2025 cannot identify a tadpole.
He cannot tell you what a yolk sac is. He does not know what month they hatch in his county. The skill was knowing when. Number 27. A boy in eastern North Carolina in 1949, age 11, is sitting on the back steps of a tobacco barn. His uncle has just handed him a corncob pipe and a small leather pouch of Prince Albert tobacco. The boy is to load, light, and smoke the pipe until the bowl is finished. The tobacco is mild. The smoke is not. The boy learns to pack the bowl with a 3-finger pinch, tamped once with the thumb. The boy learns to light the bowl with a kitchen match and draw the flame into the tobacco without scorching his tongue. The boy coughs once. The boy finishes the bowl. The boy is now a smoker. The boy is not yet 12. The uncle does not explain anything. The uncle treats this as a normal afternoon. The boy does not feel special. The boy feels older. The boy will sit on many back steps after this.
A grown man in 2025 has never loaded a pipe, has never held a kitchen match long enough to draw a flame into a bowl, and has never finished what he started when the bowl burned out. The skill was the finish. Number 26. A boy in rural Wisconsin in 1948, age 12, is standing at the back door of a tavern on a Friday night. His father has sent him in to fetch the old man. The boy pushes through the swinging door. The bar is dim. There are 6 men on stools. The men look at the boy. The boy looks at the men. The boy does not speak first. The boy waits for his father to be pointed out by one of the men. The boy walks to his father and says the exact sentence his father told him to say. Mom says it's time. The boy does not apologize for the message. The boy does not add anything. The boy turns and walks out. His father is at the door in 4 minutes. The boy did not flinch. The boy did not perform. The boy delivered the message. A grown man in 2025 sends a text message to his father, asking his father to come to the door of his own house. The man has never delivered a message in person. The man has never been looked at by 6 strange men in a dim room and stood his ground. The skill was the door. Number 25. The boy on the creek bank at the top of this video is sitting on a tobacco tin with a length of copper wire and a tin can. He is building a trap for a creek chub. He does not know yet that the skill he is learning is not the trap. He does not know yet that the 31 skills in this video all rhyme. He will not know until he is a grandfather. We are coming back to him, but not the way you think. Number 24. A boy in the Texas Hill Country in 1946, age 10, is straddling a cedar fence post at the county fairgrounds. He is holding a wind-up Roy Rogers cap pistol. The pistol is made of cast iron by Hubley. The pistol weighs 1.5 pounds. The boy is sighting along the barrel at a tin can on a rail 20 feet away. The boy has been practicing for 2 months. The boy has cut notches in the post with his Barlow to mark each session. The boy can hit the can 9 times out of 10 from the seated position, 5 times out of 10 from the offhand. The boy knows the difference between sighted fire and instinctive fire. The boy knows what a front sight is for. The boy will know what a front sight is for the rest of his life. A grown man in 2025 cannot hit a target 10 feet away with a real pistol. The man bought the pistol for defense. The man has not practiced. The man believes the pistol will save him because he owns it. The pistol is not a talisman. The pistol is a skill. The skill was the notch. Number 23. A boy in upstate New York in 1949, age 11, is standing in his grandfather's sugar bush. The sap is running. The boy is to check 40 taps and empty the buckets into the gathering tank. The buckets are galvanized. The spiles are cast iron. The gathering tank is on a stone boat pulled by a team of draft horses. The boy walks the lines. The boy knows which tap is a heavy run and which tap is a light run. The boy knows which spile to clear with the wire hook. The boy knows how to back the team to the gathering tank when the load is full. The boy drives the team home. The boy is alone in the bush. The boy will be alone in the bush tomorrow and the day after. A grown man in 2025
drives to a grocery store and pays $7 for a quart of maple syrup. The man has never walked a line of taps. The man has never cleared a spile. The man has never backed a team. The skill was the line. Number 22.
A boy in Central Georgia in 1945, age 12, is holding a single-shot .22 rifle. It is a Winchester Model 67. The boy is walking a fence line behind the barn. The boy is looking for a possum that has been killing pullets. The boy carries the rifle broken open over his arm until he sees the shape. The boy does not load the rifle until he has a clear shot. The boy loads one round. The boy closes the action. The boy shoulders the rifle. The boy squeezes the trigger. The boy does not flinch at the report. The boy breaks the action open and ejects the spent shell into his pocket. The boy has been taught that every shell is accounted for. The boy walks the fence line home with the possum over his shoulder. His mother is at the back door. His mother is not surprised. A grown man in 2025 owns 3 rifles and cannot tell you how to verify the chamber is clear without checking twice. The man checks twice because he does not trust his hands.
The boy in 1945 trusted his hands because his hands had been trained since he was 7. The skill was the brake. A boy in 1947 is sitting on a fence post behind a rural post office. He is whittling a willow whistle with his Barlow. A passing car slows. The man in the car asks the boy if his mother knows he has the knife. The boy says, "Yes, sir." The man drives on. The boy knows his mother knows. The boy knows the man knows his mother knows. The boy knows the world is smaller than he thought. Number 21. A boy in rural Maine in 1948, age 11, is standing at the wood cookstove in his grandmother's kitchen. The stove is a Glenwood. The boy is making breakfast for himself and his younger sister. The fire is laid the night before. The boy opens the drafts and lights the kindling with a kitchen match. The boy sets the cast-iron griddle on the left eye and fries 4 slices of side meat his grandmother rendered the previous fall. The boy cracks 3 eggs into a bowl, beats them with a fork, and scrambles them in the right eye with a wooden spoon. The boy butters the bread his sister sliced yesterday. The boy sets the plates on the table. The boy sits. The boy waits for his sister to sit first. The boy has been cooking since he was 8. The boy does not call this cooking. The boy calls it breakfast. A grown man in 2025 cannot fry an egg. The man eats a protein bar in his car on the way to work. The man posts a photograph of the protein bar. The bar has 17 ingredients. The egg had 1. The skill was the eye. Number 20. A boy in northern Alabama in 1946, age 12, is sitting on a porch swing with his grandfather. The grandfather is whittling a fork from a hickory branch. The grandfather is 74. The grandfather has been whittling since he was 6. The boy is watching. The boy is not talking. The boy is watching the angle of the grandfather's thumb. The boy is watching how the grandfather turns the branch toward the blade, not the blade toward the branch. The boy is watching the small pauses. The boy does not ask if he can try. The boy waits. The grandfather hands him the branch at the end of the porch sitting. The boy does not whittle that night. The boy studies the branch. The boy whittles the next morning. The boy does not finish the fork. The boy does not care. The boy learned the angle. You may already be seeing the pattern here. Every one of these has one thing in common. We will name it at number 6. Number 19. A boy in Eastern Oregon in 1947, age 10, is crouching beside an irrigation ditch at the edge of a wheat field. The ditch is lined with basalt cobbles hauled from the Snake River. The boy is flipping the cobbles looking for crayfish. The crayfish are the size of his thumb. The boy has a coffee can with a wire handle. The boy has baited the can with a scrap of liver wrapped in cheesecloth. The boy has set 6 cans along a quarter-mile of ditch the night before. The boy is pulling the cans now. The boy knows that the first can has been in the water since dark. The boy knows the last can has only been in since morning. The boy knows which can has the most crayfish. The boy cleans the catch on a flat rock with his barlow. The boy has been setting cans since he was 8. The boy does not brag about the catch. The boy brings the catch home in the can. A grown man in 2025 orders snow crab legs from a restaurant and cannot crack the shell. The man breaks the claw on the 3rd try. The man leaves the knuckles on the plate. The man has never eaten a crayfish. The man has never cleaned a crayfish. The man has never set a can in a ditch.
The skill was the can. Number 18. A boy in northern Indiana in 1948, age 11, is standing at the back of a flatbed truck loaded with 75-pound blocks of ice. The truck is at a loading dock behind the local meat locker. The boy is working a summer job for a man named Mr. Sorensen, who delivers ice door to door in the summer. The boy is to load the blocks into the back of a stake body truck with a pair of ice tongs. The tongs are 6 feet long. The blocks are slippery. The boy wears leather gloves. The boy carries the blocks from the loading dock to the truck, one at a time. The boy learns to set the tongs into the end grain of the block. The boy learns to swing the block underhanded and step under it as it clears the rail. The boy loads 70 blocks in an hour. The boy is paid 75 cents. The boy buys a cherry smash at the lunch counter with a wooden nickel he earned the day before. The boy has no idea that an ice box will be obsolete in 10 years. The boy is proud. The boy has earned the cherry smash. A grown man in 2025 pays $42 for a pour of bourbon at a rooftop bar and complains about the price. The man has never loaded a block of ice. The man has never swung anything underhanded. The man has never earned a wooden nickel. The skill was the swing. Number 17. A boy in Central Virginia in 1946, age 12, is walking a half-mile to the country store with a wooden wagon. The wagon is a child's wagon, built by his father out of oak and iron. The boy is to bring back a 100-pound sack of flour, a 10-pound sack of sugar, a 5-pound tin of Arbuckle coffee, and a pound of Prince Albert. The boy has the list in his pocket. The boy has a quarter and 3 pennies. The boy has been walking this road since he was 8. The boy knows the route.
The boy knows where the wagon wheel will stick in the ruts. The boy knows the load will not balance if he puts the flour on top of the sugar. The boy gets home. The boy carries the sacks inside, one at a time. The boy stacks them on the pantry shelf, with the labels facing out. The boy does not throw out the wagon. The boy backs the wagon into the shed. The boy has earned the wagon. A grown man in 2025 drives his half-ton truck 4 blocks to the corner store to buy a single 12-pack. The man leaves the empty cardboard case in the parking lot. The man has never backed a wagon into a shed. The skill was the label. Number 16. A boy in rural Kentucky in 1947, age 9, is standing at the edge of a stand of persimmon trees behind the smokehouse. The boy is shaking the branches. The boy is checking the fruit for ripeness. The boy knows that a persimmon is not ripe until after the first frost.
The boy knows that an unripe persimmon puckers the mouth so badly the boy cannot speak for an hour. The boy knows the puckering comes from tannins. The boy does not know the word tannins. The boy knows the feel. The boy picks only the soft ones. The boy fills his shirt hem and carries them to the back step. The boy eats 4 for breakfast. The boy has not lost a crop to a frost in 3 years. A grown man in 2025 buys persimmon pulp at a specialty grocer in fall and pays $9 for a pint. The man has never shaken a tree. The man has never waited for a frost. The man has never puckered for an hour. The skill was the weight. Pause here. Tell me in the comments, which of these did your father or grandfather teach you? The comments on this video are full of men naming the exact moment, the kitchen table, the back step, the woods behind the barn. Read them. Some of them will be older than you. Some of them will be younger. All of them will be true. A boy in 1949 is standing at a window in a small house in northern Mississippi. The boy is watching his father mend a split in a fence rail with a chunk of baling wire. The boy is 9. The boy is not helping. The boy is watching. The boy is learning the bend of the wire and the twist of the pliers. The boy will mend his first fence at 10. The boy will mend his last fence at 76. The wire does not change. The boy changes. Number 15. A boy in southern Illinois in 1948, age 10, is holding a glass pint jar of creek water up to the afternoon light. The boy is looking for movement. The boy is looking for scud. Scud are the small freshwater shrimp that live under flat rocks in limestone creeks. The boy knows that scud move in tight darts when the jar is held still. The boy knows that scud mean there are smallmouth bass downstream. The boy knows that bass will hold in the pools below the riffle. The boy sets the jar down. The boy walks downstream. The boy catches 2 smallmouth on a cricket on a number 10 hook. The boy has read the water. The boy has not named what he has done. The boy has done it. A grown man in 2025 hires a guide to take him fly fishing on a ranch river in Montana. The guide reads the water for the man. The man does not know that the man could have read it himself if he had been taught at 10. The skill was the jar. Number 14. A boy in eastern Tennessee in 1946, age 11, is climbing a white oak behind the smokehouse. The boy is barefoot. The boy is 20 feet up. The boy is holding a rope with a slip knot. The boy is after a coon that has been raiding the corn crib. The boy is to slip the loop over the coon's head and drop the coon to the ground. The dog is below. The dog is a black and tan coonhound named Rex. Rex is not barking. Rex is waiting. The boy knows Rex is waiting. The boy knows the coon is in the second crotch. The boy leans out. The boy slips the loop. The boy drops the rope. Rex bays. The boy climbs down. The boy does not yell. The boy does not cheer. The boy pats Rex on the head. The boy has been climbing since he was 7. The boy has been slipping loops since he was 9. A grown man in 2025 calls animal control when a raccoon gets into his attic. The man is afraid of the raccoon. The man is more afraid of the roof. The man pays $400. The man has never climbed a tree. The skill was the loop. Number 13. A boy in western Massachusetts in 1947, age 12, is standing in a hardware store in Greenfield. The hardware store is a True Value affiliated dealer named Griswold & Son. The boy is buying a hatchet. The boy has $8. The hatchet he is looking at is a plum with a hickory handle. The hatchet costs $1.25. The boy also needs a Barlow knife at 75 cents and a spool of copper wire at 10 cents. The boy also needs a tin snip at 30 cents and a ball of waxed twine at a nickel. The boy does the math in his head. The boy has $5.60 left over for the rest of the summer. The boy lays the money on the counter. The clerk counts it twice. The clerk wraps the hatchet in brown paper. The boy carries the hatchet home in the paper. The boy puts the hatchet on the peg by the back door. The boy has owned the hatchet for 61 years. The hatchet is still on the peg. A grown man in 2025 buys a $40 hatchet online and uses it once on a cardboard box. The man throws the hatchet out at the next garage sale. The man has never laid the money on the counter and counted it twice. The man has never wrapped a hatchet in brown paper. The skill was the wrap. Number 12. The boy on the creek bank at the top of this video is sitting on the tobacco tin with the length of copper wire. The trap did not work. The boy is not upset. The boy is taking the trap apart to see why. The boy is 12 years old now. The boy is in 1950. The boy is rebuilding the trap with the parts from the old one because he has learned that the creek gives you everything you need if you look. The boy has caught nothing all afternoon. The boy has caught everything he came for. The other 30 skills taught him the trap. The trap taught him the rebuilding. The rebuilding taught him the looking. The looking taught him the boy. Number 11. A boy in northeastern Oklahoma in 1949, age 11, is standing in a stockyard pen at the edge of town. The pen holds 30 head of mixed cattle. The boy is loading a Hereford heifer into a 2-horse trailer behind a Model A pickup. The trailer is a homemade unit built of oak and angle iron. The boy is working alone. The boy has a hickory stick 4 feet long. The boy knows that the heifer will load if the trailer is dark inside. The boy has thrown a tarp over the top of the trailer. The boy taps the heifer on the left hip. The heifer loads. The boy ties the trailer gate with a half hitch. The boy drives the 7 miles to the sale barn at the county seat. The boy unloads. The boy waits for the auction. The boy sells the heifer for $62. The boy cashes the check at the cafe next door. The boy has been loading trailers since he was 9. A grown man in 2025 rents a 20-foot U-Haul to move a queen mattress across town. The man cannot back the trailer up his own driveway. The man calls a friend. The friend cannot back it either. The man pays a $90 fee to have it delivered. The man has never tied a half hitch. The skill was the hitch. Number 10. A boy in central Iowa in 1948, age 12, is holding a roll of 1/4-inch manila rope. The boy is tying a bowline. The boy is not practicing for a test. The boy is tying a bowline because the calf got out of the lot last night and the gate post is broken, and the boy needs to lead the calf back to the lot by the neck. The boy ties the bowline in 7 seconds. The boy leads the calf. The boy does not explain the knot to anyone. The boy explains the knot to his younger brother at supper. The brother is 8. The brother is being taught the bowline now. The bowline has not changed since the Phoenicians. The rope is the same. The gate post will break again. The knot will hold. A grown man in 2025 Googles how to tie a bowline while standing in a Home Depot aisle. The man has a roll of paracord in his truck.
The man has never needed a bowline. The man has never had a calf. The man has never had a brother. The man has a friend who is a brother to him. The man has not taught the friend a knot. The skill was the rope. Number 9. A boy in southwestern Virginia in 1946, age 10, is sitting on a split-rail fence with a corncob pipe. The pipe is loaded. The pipe is lit. The boy is drawing slowly. The boy has been taught by his uncle to smoke down to the ash without relighting. The uncle said the relighting is the mark of an amateur. The boy draws. The boy smokes. The boy is not performing. The boy is resting. The boy has worked since 4 in the morning. The boy is on the fence for 15 minutes. The boy taps the ash into the grass. The boy puts the pipe in his hip pocket. The boy climbs down. The boy goes back to work. The boy is 10. The boy is not a child on the fence. The boy is a man on a fence. The fence is the same. The man is the difference. A grown man in 2025 vapes nicotine salts at 3% in his kitchen and calls it a coping mechanism. The man has never smoked a pipe down to the ash. The man has never tapped an ash. The man has never been on a fence. The skill was the draw. Number 8. A boy in eastern Nebraska in 1947, age 11, is standing beside his father at the kitchen sink. The father is gutting a mess of crappie the boy caught at the gravel pit the night before. The father is showing the boy how to make the first cut behind the pectoral fin and run the knife along the backbone without breaking the gallbladder. The father does not explain why the gallbladder matters. The father shows the boy what happens when the gallbladder breaks. The boy sees the green smear on the meat. The boy smells it. The boy is told to clean the mess with cold water and salt. The boy does it. The boy does not gag. The boy finishes the last fish. The boy rinses his hands. The boy dries the knife on the dish towel. The boy puts the knife back in the drawer. The boy has been taught the gallbladder. The boy has been taught the cold water. The boy has been taught the salt. A grown man in 2025 buys filleted tilapia at the grocery store and complains that it tastes bland. The man has never gutted a crappie. The man has never seen a gallbladder. The man has never smelled what the gallbladder does. The man has never cleaned the mess. The skill was the smell. Number 7. A boy in central Michigan in 1949, age 12, is kneeling beside a wood frame screen door on the back porch. The screen has a tear the size of a hand. The boy has a can of dark green screen paint and a small brush. The boy has also brought a scrap of screen wire from a roll in the barn and a spool of tinned wire. The boy is not replacing the screen.
The boy is patching the screen. The boy cuts a patch 1 inch larger than the tear on all sides. The boy bends the edges of the patch. The boy threads the wire through the patch and the screen in a lacing stitch the boy's grandfather taught him. The boy trims the wire. The boy paints the patch. The boy sets the door back on the hinges. The boy has not replaced the screen. The boy has patched the screen. The patch will last longer than the boy. The boy's father taught the boy's grandfather. The boy's grandfather taught the boy. The boy will teach his son. The boy is 12. The boy is in the middle of a 4-generation repair. And that was still not the hardest thing they were being asked to do. What came next broke half of them. A boy in 1948 is sitting on a nail keg at the edge of a plowed field in central Missouri. The boy is eating a cornbread pone, his mother wrapped in waxed paper. The boy is alone. The boy has been helping his uncle plow since 4 in the morning. The boy is tired. The boy is not complaining. The boy knows the plow will be done by sundown. The boy knows the field will be planted by Thursday. The boy knows that the first rain will come by Sunday. The boy knows the Sunday after that, his uncle will take him to town for a sarsaparilla. The boy has not been promised the sarsaparilla. The boy knows it is coming. The boy has earned it. Number 6. A boy in northern Georgia in 1947, age 12, is standing in his father's front yard. The father has asked the boy to do something the boy believes is wrong. The father has asked the boy to drive a sick calf across the pasture to the back 40 and shoot it, because the calf will not live and the meat will draw coyotes to the milk cow. The boy does not want to shoot the calf. The boy has been feeding the calf from a bottle since it was born in March. The boy knows the calf is sick. The boy knows the calf will not live. The boy does not want to be the one. The boy says, "No, sir." The boy does not explain. The father looks at the boy. The father does not say no back. The father does not punish. The father does not praise. The father walks to the truck. The father drives the calf across the pasture himself. The father comes back alone. The father does not speak of it at supper. The boy does not speak of it at supper. The boy is 12. The boy has learned something the 30 other skills could not have taught him. The other 30 taught him the woods. This one taught him the man. The skill is not the woods. The skill is not the rope. The skill is not the hatchet. The skill is the part of the boy that knows when to put the hatchet down. The other 30 skills taught the boy what the hatchet could do. Number 6 taught the boy when not to use it. That is the missing piece. That is the piece the modern country is trying to replace with a phone number. The phone number is the wrong answer. The phone number is a list. The phone number is not a man. The man is the one who put the hatchet down and walked back to the kitchen table and ate his supper and did not explain. The man is the one who knew the answer was no and said no and lived with the cost of no at 12 years old in the front yard of a small house in northern Georgia. The country did not lose its hatchets. The country lost the courage to send the boy out to the back 40 with one and trust him to bring it back unspent. The country did not lose its woods. The country lost the willingness to walk into the woods with the boy and wait for the boy to walk out. The other 30 skills are the woods. Number 6 is the boy. The woods without the boy is a trail. The boy without the woods is a credential. Number 6 is what the credential cannot become. Number 5. A boy in Central Arkansas in 1948, age 12, is sitting on the running board of a 36 Ford pickup. The pickup belongs to his uncle. The boy has been asked to drive the pickup from the barn to the wash rack a quarter mile down the lane. The uncle is riding in the passenger seat. The uncle is teaching the boy to work the clutch. The Ford has a 3-speed manual on the column. The clutch is dry. The boy lets it out too fast the first time. The Ford bucks. The uncle does not grab the wheel. The uncle says, "Try again." The boy lets it out slower the second time. The Ford rolls. The boy makes it to the wash rack in 3 minutes. The boy backs the Ford back to the barn in 5. The boy is 12. The boy can drive a 3-speed on a dry clutch. The boy can back a trailer. The boy has not been given a license. The boy has been given the truck. A grown man in 2025 owns a 10-speed automatic with paddle shifters and cannot parallel park it. The man has never felt a dry clutch grab. The man has never been told, "Try again," by a man who did not grab the wheel. The skill was the grab. Number 4. A boy in southeastern Ohio in 1949, age 12, is standing at the back door of his grandfather's house. The grandfather has had a stroke. The grandfather is 78. The grandfather cannot speak. The grandfather can move his right hand. The grandfather has called the boy over with a small wave. The boy walks to the chair. The grandfather takes the boy's hand in his right hand. The grandfather places the boy's thumb on the grandfather's wrist. The grandfather is taking the boy's pulse. The grandfather is teaching the boy to take a pulse by feel. The boy feels it. The boy counts. The boy nods. The grandfather nods. The grandfather closes his eyes. The boy stays in the chair for an hour. The boy holds the grandfather's wrist. The boy does not speak. The boy is being taught something that cannot be taught in any classroom. The boy is being taught how to sit with a man who is leaving. A grown man in 2025 visits his father in a nursing home and looks at his phone. The man is uncomfortable with silence. The man does not know how to sit. The man has never been taught to sit. The man is sitting. The man is not there. The skill was the sit. Number 3. A boy in western North Carolina in 1945, age 11, is on a freight train. The train is the Southern Railway number 17, the local between Asheville and Knoxville. The boy has hopped on at a rural siding 3 miles from his family's farm. The boy is going to town to buy a part for the corn sheller. The part costs 30 cents. The boy has 30 cents. The boy has ridden this train alone since he was 9. The conductor knows the boy. The conductor does not card the boy. The boy knows the schedule. The boy knows the siding. The boy knows where to stand so the brakeman can see him. The boy has earned the ride. The boy will be back before sundown. The boy is not running from anything. The boy is going to fetch a part. A grown man in 2025 orders the part from Amazon and pays $6 for 2-day shipping. The man has never hopped a freight. The man has never earned a ride. The man has never been seen by a brakeman. The man is seen by an algorithm. The man is not seen at all. The skill was the siding. Number 2. A boy in southern Indiana in 1946, age 12, is standing at the kitchen table. The kitchen table is white pine. The kitchen table was built by the boy's father. The kitchen table has a knife scar in the corner from the day the boy was 6 and tried to open a tin of Prince Albert and slipped. The scar is not hidden. The scar is the table's history. The boy is holding a fountain pen. The fountain pen is a We Air Ever Lady Fair. The pen cost $1.29 at the 5 and dime. The boy is writing a letter to his grandfather. The grandfather lives in eastern Tennessee. The boy has not seen the grandfather in 2 years. The boy is writing the letter because his mother asked. The boy is writing the letter because his grandfather cannot read a letter that has not been written. The boy is writing the letter because the boy knows the letter will be read aloud at the kitchen table in eastern Tennessee, and the grandfather will hold the letter in both hands, and the grandfather will not throw the letter away. The boy writes. The boy folds the letter. The boy puts the letter in the envelope. The boy licks the stamp. The boy will walk the letter to the mailbox at the end of the lane. The boy is 12. The boy has written to a man who held him when he was born. The boy will write every month for the rest of the grandfather's life. The boy has not been asked to. The boy has been asked by the table. A grown man in 2025 texts his father a heart emoji on Father's Day. The man has not written a letter in 30 years. The man has never folded a letter. The man has never licked a stamp. The man has never had a grandfather who held a letter in both hands. The man has had a grandfather. The man did not write. The skill was the fold. Number 1. A boy in rural Tennessee in 1948, age 12, is standing in the front yard of his father's house. The father is at the kitchen window. The boy is holding a hatchet. The hatchet is the plum with the hickory handle the boy bought in Greenfield. The boy has been chopping kindling for the cook stove since he was 8. The boy knows what kindling is. The boy knows what the cook stove needs. The father calls the boy to the window. The father tells the boy to go into the woods behind the barn and cut down a dead ash tree the father marked with a hatchet mark on the bark last spring. The boy is to bring back the rounds for next winter. The boy is to be back by supper. The boy walks into the woods. The boy finds the tree. The boy chops. The boy does not think about the hatchet. The hatchet is part of his hand. The boy falls the tree. The boy limbs it. The boy splits the rounds. The boy carries them out, one at a time. The boy stacks them beside the coal bin. The boy puts the hatchet on the peg. The boy washes his hands in the basin on the back porch. The boy walks into the kitchen. The father is at the table. The father looks up. The boy sits. The boy does not say the tree was hard. The boy does not say the rounds are split. The father does not say thank you. The father does not say good job. The father says, pass the salt. The boy passes the salt. The boy has done the work. The boy has not been praised. The boy has been trusted. That was not number one. Number one happened the next morning. The father asked the boy to do something the boy believed was wrong. The boy said no, not defiantly, not cruelly, just clearly. The father had asked him to take the hatchet to the neighbor's fence and cut the wire because the neighbor's cows had been in the family's corn. The boy knew the neighbor was a widow. The boy knew the widow's cows had gotten through a gap in the fence the boy had seen but not told his father about. The boy knew the right answer was to mend the fence, not cut the wire. The boy said, "No, sir." The boy did not explain. The father looked at him for a long time. The father did not punish him. The father did not praise him. The father went inside and shut the door. The boy stood in the yard. The boy was shaking. The boy went home that night, and the next morning his father took him to the hardware store and bought him the better hatchet, the one with the hickory handle, the one that cost $1.25 instead of 75 cents. The father did not say what the hatchet meant. The boy knew. The boy had passed the test that none of the other 30 skills had prepared him for. The other 30 were the curriculum. Number 1 is the graduation. The boy did not learn to say no to survive the woods. The boy learned to say no so that one day, when the woods were made of men, and the men were made of authority, and the authority was wrong, the boy would still be himself. The 30 skills were the practice. Number 1 is the man. The country did not lose its hatchet skills. The country lost the man the hatchet was teaching. The country did not lose the woods. The country lost the willingness to send the boy into the woods and wait for him to come back. The country did not lose the test.
The country lost the trust. The country can rebuild the trust. The country rebuilds it the way it was built. One boy, one woods, one return, one quiet nod at the kitchen door. The other 30 skills will follow the trust. The trust does not follow the skills. The trust has to come first. The boy on the creek bank at the top of this video is now in his 80s. He does not remember the trap he was building. He remembers the cold water. He remembers the tin can. He remembers that no one came looking for him. He remembers that the afternoon was his. He remembers that he came home for supper. He remembers that his father was already at the table. He remembers that his father asked how it went, and the boy said it did not work, and his father said, "Try again tomorrow." That afternoon is not coming back. The tin can is not coming back. The drainage ditch behind the hardware store is a parking lot now. The country that built the boy on the creek bank is a country that has decided the boy should not be in the drainage ditch. The decision is not cruel. The decision is wrong. The decision can be changed without rebuilding the parking lot or reopening the hardware store. The decision is changed the way it was made. One father, one son, one afternoon, one nod. The other 30 will follow. Which of these did your father or grandfather teach you? Tell me in the comments. Next week, we are going inside the kitchen table where those lessons were tested. Subscribe so you do not miss it. The hatchet is on the peg by the door. The boy is in the yard. The father is at the table.